This is the story of an unsuspecting kingdom whose enzymes would be used to combat hypercholesterolemia as a factor for improving the quality of food at the threshold, to a statin called Lipitor, which would not be undersold. We take you to Tokyo, where Akira Endo doth rest, researching the fungi of which his passions are best. It may do well to inform you that his fascinations did vent on a one Alexander Fleming, whose breakthrough with penicillin was a notable achievement.
It really did begin in my childhood, this thing with the fungus, but moved to cholesterol thanks to Conrad Botch's work with cholesterol biosynthesis. And now, learning from Lawrence I. Roth about the cardiovascular disease, it is something I must do. I never suspected it'd start with cheese.
Now before we continue, let us inform you of such. Cholesterol is needed, but not needed so much. Memory fluidity and hormones doth play a role. The deception is LDL, who create a smaller hole. 20 nanometers in length, cholesterol esters encapsulate. On arterial walls, they oxidize and accumulate, creating structural changes in plaque residue, until, alas, atherosclerosis ensues.
But do not be alarmed, my biochem mates, for HDLs have proven to counter these fates. By limiting the rate and extent of LDL oxidation, higher HDL levels reduce the risk of myocardial complication. And in its own production, it inhibits itself, now introducing HGM-CoA reductase. Let's pull the blue cheese off the shelf.
5,999 and counting, our search does continue on. For the inhibitor of HMG-CoA reductase, although it may have won. 2 years we have given painstakingly for this prize, and the heartache and torment I could see in my colleagues' eyes. I have fought you completely, with many a strain, and for what I must say, this brings me much pain. Okay. Oh, HMG-CoA reductase, I want to punch you in the face.
But do not be troubled from hearing these words, I beseech. For the next strain, pay closely, despite this discouraging speech. Penicillium citrinum, relative scapegoat of blue cheese, now complementing cholesterol inhibition, aside from your salad of peas.
ML236B, metastatin for short, stopping the mevalonic acid synthesis cohort. We thought we had something with Pythium ultimum until the rat toxicity in the liver grew quite a bit in some. Structurally analogous to HMG-CoA, metastatin is preventing conversion from mevalonic acid and thusly cholesterol synthesis.
But excitement cut short when what did abound, effective and only short term, is what they have found. Until at last it was suggested to test it on chicken, whose cholesterol-ridden eggs were immensely strong.
It worked, yes, it worked by as much as 50%. Not as much of an ounce of body weight food take or egg production spent.
Now some more background info about statin therapies. That is, if you don't mind indulging me, please. Be amazed by the astonishing work of my quota. Statin decreases in LDL and increase in HDL lowers the quota. Or the amount of LDLs in circulation, generating more LDL receptors on the surface of the liver in correlation. This effect aids to further decrease LDLs, and let's not forget how LDL, or HDL, excels. It binds to cholesterol esters and is delivered to the liver, where it is digested in ways that would give you a shiver.
How frightfully excited! But getting back to the story, would the tale of young Akira soon end of its glory? Not before Boyd Woodruff of Merck would assent to inquire with Sankyo, whose team included Akira, whom they long ago did hire. With patents still pending, Merck evaluated a sample, and after the study in rats and dogs ample, decided to take on a search for a statin of its own, and alas, Aspergillus terreus, common soil fungus, was shown. Structurally identical to methylstatin except for a methyl group. Lovastatin they called it. Now another to treat the ghastly arterial goop.
You forgot to mention the rumor of tumors.
Ah! The rumor of tumors! Please do continue that rumor.
There was a strange rumor, and only a rumor it was, that some dogs treated with mevestatin had developed intestinal tumors in aid of its cause. So Sanko decided to put a halt on the trials, and with only a method difference, there could be no denials. That lovastatin could potentially cause the same tumor, and that a recall was placed, and that is the rumor.
So then Merck set out to solve the puzzle of such, but the evidence it found, not so much. Thus a business proposal to Sanko was made to share Mevacor. Once the problem was resolved, then they both be paid. But sadly, Sanko declined and Merck moved right on, focusing their efforts on the strength of one.
1 in 500 to be exact, and not on the strength, but the lack, quite in fact.
A condition called heterozygous familial hypercholesterolemia. The person who carries 2 different copies of a gene and
is deficient on receptors to remove LDL from circulation, and cardiovascular disease develops earlier in life if left untreated in correlation.
So with compelling clinical need for a statin to reduce this hypocholesterolemia that created such arterial abuse, we stepped up to bat with the FDA consent and created our cholesterol-lowering accomplishment. Now, before we accrue any unwanted protesters, we will sponsor the Scandinavian simvastatin survival study to increase our investors. A control group will receive a placebo to replace the simvastatin the others receive. Now begins the race.
And the race it was, and to Merck's astonishing commitment, significant decreases in blood and LDL cholesterol proved payment for the hours spent.
And with this success, drew more statins to test for other possible cholesterol-lowering medications. Whose would lower the best? Next, Park Davis stumbled upon Lipitor, although Mevacor, Zocor, and Prevacol were already further in stages far more. In order to fast-track the drug to the market, an unmet medical need was the fuel that sparked it. Homozygous familial hypercholesterolemia was the foe. 2 copies of the disease-causing gene reduced flow. Heart attacks and bypass surgery before the teen years, enough to embody the FDA's fears.
And with Pfizer reelected to market this power, not before commissioning a trial of 4 other statins in competition with ours, Lipitor won this battle of statins, emerging as the world's best-selling drug with minimal adverse reactions. This is the tale of Longas farm, whose cholesterol-lowering effects decreased arterial harm. We wish you thank you for your time and hope you enjoyed this heartfelt ride.
Bravo!